When Claire and I got married, I truly believed we were building a life grounded in partnership, respect, and love. We weren't young and naive anymore. We were both 30, both settled in our careers, and both convinced that we had grown past the immaturity of our earlier relationships. But I couldn't have been more mistaken. It began quietly, in ways that seemed small at first. Subtle dismissals. I'd ask her if she could help with dinner after a long day at work, and she'd roll her eyes with a sharp, "You can handle it, can't you? You're a grown man." At the time, I brushed it off. She was tired, I told myself. Everyone has rough days. But gradually, her responses grew sharper, edged with contempt. One evening, I asked if she could come home earlier since I had a late meeting the next day and needed help with the kids. She crossed her arms, looked me directly in the eye, and said coldly, "You don't get to ask me things like that. I don't owe you anything. You're not my father and you're not my owner." The sting of those words went deeper than she realized. It wasn't just about schedules anymore. It was about respect. I wasn't trying to control her. I was trying to work together as a team. But to her, any request from me felt like a threat to her independence. And the bitterness didn't stop there. If I asked about our finances, she snapped that it was her money because she earned more. If I questioned her late nights out with friends, she dismissed me as insecure. Our marriage became a tug-of-war, her fighting to assert dominance, and me standing in the wreckage of what I had once thought was an equal partnership. The breaking point came one Saturday morning. I suggested we sit down and plan a vacation since we hadn't had one in years. Instead of agreeing, she laughed in my face. "You're ridiculous. If I want a vacation, I'll book one myself. You don't get to dictate my life." It wasn't only her words that cut me down, it was her expression. Cold, dismissive, as though I was nothing more than a roommate she barely tolerated. That was when the truth hit me. She no longer saw me as her husband. She saw me as an obstacle, a nuisance, someone she had to rebel against. And there I was, the man who once believed in patience and compromise, staring at the ruins of his marriage, wondering how much longer he could endure. After that day, something shifted inside me. I stopped excusing her cruelty as stress. I stopped trying to smooth over the damage. Instead, I began paying close attention to the way she treated me compared to everyone else. With her friends, she was warm, generous, and charming. But with me, the man who shared her home, her life, and her bed, she was cold, sharp, and cutting. Respect was a currency she seemed to spend everywhere except in our marriage. The final straw didn't come from another insult. It came from a truth I never expected. One evening, her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter while she was in the shower. Normally, I respected her privacy, but that night, curiosity got the better of me. The preview alone made my stomach sink. The message was from a coworker named Daniel. "So, when's that hall pass happening? You know I'm ready whenever you are, winking face." My chest tightened as I opened the thread. Weeks of flirty texts, inside jokes, playful hints that crossed every boundary of marriage. But what shattered me most were her replies. She never once shut him down. She never even reminded him she was married. Instead, she leaned into it, teasing back, laughing, and even saying, "Maybe one day my husband will finally approve." That night, I confronted her. My hands trembled as I showed her the messages, my voice shaking with anger and betrayal. And instead of shame or apology, she rolled her eyes. "You're overreacting. It's harmless fun. You don't get to police who I talk to." That sentence was the final nail in the coffin. Not just the words, but the tone, the complete lack of remorse. In that moment, I realized she truly didn't believe she owed me respect, or even loyalty. So, I made a choice. Calmly, firmly, I told her that if she believed I wasn't worthy of basic respect, then she didn't deserve the role of my wife. That night, I packed her bags and told her to leave. At first, she laughed, convinced I was bluffing. But when she saw the determination in my eyes, the laughter died. For the first time, she wasn't in control of the narrative. The following weeks blurred together, a haze of paperwork, Awkward explanations to friends and family, and long nights wondering where everything had gone wrong. Yet in the middle of the pain, there was also clarity. For the first time in years, I was reclaiming my voice, the very voice she had silenced with her cold dismissals and cutting words. She didn't handle it gracefully. She spun the story to her friends, claiming I was controlling, that I couldn't handle a strong woman. But here's the truth. Being strong doesn't mean belittling your partner, mocking their efforts, or treating commitment like a joke. Real strength is building together, not tearing down the one person who's supposed to be on your side. The day we signed the divorce papers, she looked at me with a smug smirk, almost daring me to regret it later. But instead of bitterness, what I felt was relief. She had wanted freedom without responsibility, affection without reciprocity, loyalty without giving the same in return. That day, I didn't lose a partner. I freed myself from someone who never saw me as an equal. In the months that followed, something unexpected happened. I rediscovered peace. Quiet mornings with coffee. Long runs that cleared my mind. Reconnecting with old friends who had noticed how withdrawn I had become. Most of all, I realized that love should never feel like a battlefield where one person always wins and the other always loses. She once told me I wasn't owed anything, that I didn't have the right to ask for respect. But now I see it clearly. Respect isn't demanded, it's deserved. It's the foundation of any true partnership. She never gave me that, and that's why she lost me. I don't know where her life has taken her since. Maybe she finally used that hall pass. Maybe Daniel became more than just a flirty text. It doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that I didn't let her rewrite my worth. Walking away was the hardest decision I've ever made, but also the one that saved me. Because sometimes the greatest act of strength isn't holding on, it's letting go of someone who never truly valued you in the first place.